All right, guys, welcome back for the Thursday directions. Today, all about Buddhism. Yesterday, we focused on Hinduism. Today, we're going to look at the other kind of religion that comes from India, Buddhism. Even though it doesn't really establish a foothold in India, it does affect the other areas around India. And we'll kind of explain that in the notes. But first off, I'm just going to have you guys read this little article. It's called The Basics of Buddhism, just about 2 pages long-ish, but it'll help get us on track early. So start with this one first, and then once you have completed reading it, then come back to the notes, because that's what we're going to do right now. All right, so yesterday, right, we talked about the Vedas. We talked about the three major gods, Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva. We even talked about the Mother Ganges, the Ganges River being so important. We talked about karma and dharma, the Upanishads. We did all this stuff yesterday. And now today, we're going to focus on Buddhism. So the first question, or the essential question today, is who's the founder of Buddhism? So we got this guy here, Siddhartha Gautama. Okay, he's the founder. You want to write his name down. We're going to need to know him on the quiz for sure. All right, so this guy, he's raised in isolation, and he wants to learn more about the world. And one of his major things is he wants to seek enlightenment or wisdom, some way to escape this world of human suffering. All right, so he tries a couple different things, and meditating becomes his number one outlet. And that's what he kind of discovers, that meditating helps him find that wisdom to help him kind of escape that human suffering. So he ends up becoming the Buddha, or the enlightened one, as he starts to kind of go around and spread his teachings. All right, so let's talk about those teachings. All right, so here is the basic philosophy of Buddhism. We call it the Four Noble Truths, and we have to know what the Four Truths are. So if you want to write these down for sure in your notebooks, you can use them later. So the first noble truth is that life is filled with pain and suffering. Second truth is the cause of suffering is people's selfish desire for the temporary pleasures of the world. The third noble truth is the way to end all suffering is the way to end all desires. Or the way to end all suffering is to end all desires. So eliminate desires from your life. And the fourth noble truth is the way to overcome such desires and attain enlightenment is to follow the Eightfold Path. So the first three are kind of connected, right? Life's full of pain and suffering. Second one, the cause of people suffering is their desires. So, to eliminate that, just eliminate all desires. Now, that seems kind of complicated. So, the fourth noble truth is kind of leading us into a new thing. Okay, it says the way to overcome such desires and attain enlightenment is to follow the Eightfold Path. Now, that's going to kind of segue us, because there's going to be the Eightfold Path is a whole separate deal that has, 8 steps. So let's kind of look at it real quick. So the number one purpose is, what is the fundamental cause of all desire, or of all suffering, is desire. Therefore, we got to get rid of those desires. We got to stop obsessing about ourselves. All right. Now, this is part 4, the Four Noble Truths. Okay. And the fourth truth says to follow the Eightfold Path. And this is the Eightfold Path right here. Okay, this is the diagram. Let's kind of break it down a little bit, though. So this is all still connected with the Four Noble Truths. Okay, so the fourth noble truth is to follow this thing called the Eightfold Path. And if we follow the Eightfold Path, we'll be able to kind of help ourselves avoid those desires. And on our quiz, we're going to have, it's in red here, so we're going to have to know what each one of these paths actually mean. So again, you can just kind of jot this down. This little chart in your notes, it'll help you out big time come quiz day. So let's look at the ways that we're going to kind of help ourselves get rid of this desire. All right, well, how do we accomplish the fourth noble truth of following the Eightfold Path? So the first part is right views. Seeing the world through the Four Noble Truths. Basically believing that the Four Noble Truths are real, and if you follow them, you'll be able to reach nirvana, which we'll talk about later. All right, so the right view, just seeing the world through the Four Noble Truths. Right resolve means wanting to behave correctly and justly. Third one is the right speech, and right speech means telling the truth and speaking kindly towards others, using right speech. Tell the truth, be nice to others. It's a rule that anyone can follow. Right conduct just means being good. Like, are you conducting yourselves properly? Are you being good or are you being bad? And that's pretty self-explanatory. The next one is right livelihood. That one just means having a job that supports a moral life. So, you could have a million different occupations that would fall under right livelihood. Just things, like bad stuff. Don't have a bad job, like don't be a criminal or something like that. Make sure you're earning your livelihood in a moral way. Next up, we have right effort. And right effort is just trying to keep your mind focused on the good. So the effort part comes with trying to become an optimist when things aren't going your way. How to have a good attitude when things aren't going your way is tough to do. And that's why right effort is what it's called. It takes effort to force yourself to be positive when there's maybe not a reason to be positive. And that happens sometimes. Next up, we have right mindfulness. And this is just, being mindful of others, okay? And in this one, though, normally if I was going to talk about mindfulness, it's about being mindful of others. But in this case, we're focusing on ourselves. So it's making sure we're paying attention to what we think and what we feel. We're being very focused on how we're feeling and what we're thinking, okay? And we're recognizing our feelings and emotions. Next is right concentration, and this part has to do with meditating. And so right concentration stands for meditating as Buddha did to reach this state of nirvana. Not the band, right? Good joke, Mr. Lorden, but something totally different. So right concentration, meditating as Buddha did to reach nirvana. So the question is, what's nirvana? Well, nirvana is it's the ultimate goal for someone practicing Buddhism. Yesterday we talked about Hinduism and how the ultimate goal was moksha. Well, Buddhism, same kind of principle, I guess, where you're trying to reach this goal or this state, and it's called nirvana. And nirvana can be described as these kind of bullet points here. Nirvana could be described as a perfect state of understanding. It could be described as a release from selfishness and pain. It could also mean a break from the chains of reincarnations and rebirths. Because again, Buddhism was going around at the same time as Hinduism, right? And we'll just say that the two religions were kind of competing over followers. Well, we talked about dharma yesterday, and kind of sometimes people get stuck doing bad jobs, or kind of living in a lower economic situation because of the caste system that they're put in. The example we used in class was the person who was job was just to pick up poop, be like a poop scooper, and he under the constructs of Hinduism, she wants to make sure that she's doing the best or he's doing the best that they possibly can in order to get more dharma, get more karma, so that when they get reincarnated after they die, they get to move up the caste system. All right. But Buddhism, if you reach nirvana, very similar to moksha, you get to break away from the chains of reincarnation and rebirth. And so Buddhism early on is really enticing to the people in the lower caste system of India, where they're like, yeah, I don't feel like waiting my entire life and then dying before I can move up. Buddhism offers me the chance to reach nirvana, which will allow me to break away from these chains of reincarnation, within my life now, not my next life or my next life or my next life. So this is kind of a big reason why early on, a lot of the lower caste people started to kind of convert to Buddhism, because obviously it was more suited for their needs. All right. And Buddha rejects the caste system and multiple gods of Hinduism. Okay, so that's another big thing. So that's why they're kind of competing with each other in India. All right. So the Buddha seeks enlightenment, the religious community. Some followers devote their lives to religion, become monks or nuns. Many followers at first are among poor, lower caste, like I said. Monks and nuns spread Buddhist teachings. Obviously, we know that. The teachings written to become a sacred literature, but they really don't have like a sacred book or anything like that that we're going to kind of talk about. For them, instead of focusing on a book or some type of sacred text, we're focusing on the person, that Gautama character, who kind of comes up with the religion. Okay, we're kind of more focused on him and his teachings, and his teachings are pretty self-explanatory with the Four Noble Truths, parlaying into the Eightfold Path. That's kind of the very basics of it, and if we do all that, hopefully we reach nirvana, so we can break away from reincarnation and break away from the caste system. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell. All right. So Buddhism in India, it doesn't really take a firm hold. Hinduism is really the strong religion in India even today. So Buddhism kind of spreads to other parts of Asia and has a good stronghold there, like Sri Lanka, Burma, Thailand, Sumatra, China, Korea, Japan. All those areas really Buddhism really takes hold and is still around there today. Funny thing about the Buddha is that in America, for some reason, the Buddha's fat. So if I said, you got a Buddha belly, right? Everyone thinks that the Buddha's a fat guy. But for some reason, that's only in America. If you look at statues in like Thailand, Sri Lanka, all these other areas, this is the statue that you're going to see. It's just a normal looking guy. And it's a good historical question to kind of investigate why the Buddha in America is a big guy, but everywhere else the Buddha is just a normal looking person. I don't know the answer to that. I'm sure it's out there. I'm sure it's just a Google search away. But maybe you guys can Google search that and let me know. And for us, that's it. That's our day. We're just covering the basics of Buddhism. So you guys have the notes here. You guys have the reading, the CRT that goes with it to help you out. And then obviously I'll put the crash course video up as well to kind of help us out. All right. So with all those different resources combined, we should get a good overview of Buddhism, its practices, its beginnings, and kind of where it sits now in terms of how it's affecting India and the areas around India. That's all I got, guys. Email me if you have any questions or concerns or anything like that. Have a good day for you people at home, and I will talk to you guys later.